Hey everybody, this is Daniel.
Emmanuel.
With Bob of Some Truth, we're going to talk about a couple different topics today, starting off with the one that everybody's talking about all across the country with 11 or so days before the election. We're talking about Hillary and the FBI reopening their investigation. Did you see this coming?
Yeah, no, I didn't see this coming actually. I wanted it to come.
Yeah, no.
I was like, this needs to happen. And I guess, maybe one of my magical prayers were answered and it was like, oh yeah.
Yes. So I did a video about this just recently, so you can check back and see that we've talked about it, and just we'll quickly cover it. So there's an investigation going on with Anthony Weiner and him allegedly sending sexually explicit messages to a 15-year-old. He's married to Huma Abedin, who is a chief Clinton aide. She's like considered a Hillary Clinton gatekeeper. She prints her emails. Exciting.
And bundles her money too.
Yeah. So they're investigating that, and they see these emails that could possibly be there in connection with Hillary or connection with the Clinton Foundation, and they want to investigate those. So Comey sent a letter to Congress saying that he's going to look into these and see if there's anything there. Everybody blew up. Things hit the fan. It was nonsense. So to move the story forward, now we have a couple different people coming out in response to it. I kind of want to talk about those because I think it's really interesting. Like, the first thing is that apparently sources within the DOJ are now reporting, you see this on the Washington Post, CNN, saying that Comey went against protocol in sending this letter out. Apparently there's like this FBI kind of standard that you don't comment publicly on investigations that are within 60 days of voting. And so everyone's upset, including Attorney General Loretta Lynch, that he would make a public statement on this so close to the election. Do you think there's validity to this?
I mean, didn't they do that with the Democratic primary? Like, isn't that essentially exactly what he did? And did the DOJ at all try to intervene? Yeah, I mean, he made his public service announcement, basically.
Public service.
Yeah, his public service announcement, calling Hillary Clinton essentially innocent of all crimes, even though she committed the crimes. In the very same breath, he says, yes, she committed these crimes, but would a prosecutor really prosecute her on these crimes? No, so you're admitting she did something illegal, but we're not going to prosecute her because she's Hillary Clinton, even though other people have clearly, have done things that are of less caliber than Hillary Clinton, but similar in category, but have been penalized or indicted.
Yeah.
With James Comey reopening this investigation, for one, of course, it has a political component to it, right? Because it's like a week and a half away from the actual elections, right? So there's that aspect to it that we can't ignore. But there's also the reality that perhaps between now and WikiLeaks 1, it's been about 23 WikiLeaks drops so far since
Good job, WikiLeaks.
The great debate. Now they've discovered some kind of pertinent information within those WikiLeaks drops that leads them to have enough information to be able to, I guess, proceed with an indictment or convict. There's something that they have that would inspire this action. You wouldn't just do it haphazardly this close to an election if they didn't have something.
Like, if you're watching the coverage of the FBI reopening, it's very interesting the stages it's going. So first it was oh my God, he sent this letter. Can you believe that this is being reported? And we did a video, I did a video about that. Then now the next wave was, well, the DOJ didn't say it was okay. And the Washington Post, who loves Hillary, posted that. And then also now CNN is reporting that. And now a lot of people are picking up on it. And what that tells me is people in the establishment are not happy that he did that. They are furious. And now they're playing that political game of, if we could talk to someone at the DOJ and get them to say that what he did was outside of protocol, then we can write a news story that says, according to DOJ officials, they don't tell you the names of the people. Yeah, they just tell you DOJ officials.
It could be the mailman.
It could be an intern or the person who does the coffee, the Starbucks runs. And I'm not saying that's necessarily happening, but I do think that there's this intentional counter move by the media to say, well, we can't believe that you did this, and we're going to make it look like you shouldn't have done this. And then the second thing I want to talk about briefly is Podesta Hillary Clinton's communications chairperson, who these emails are coming from with WikiLeaks, who's saying that the FBI needs to release whatever they have and make it clear to the American people what they have or don't have. I think this is a really great ploy because it's very manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
As we've talked about off camera, we'll bring the conversation on camera. I think the reason why the FBI is doing this is because they don't know what's in those emails with UMA. And they want to be able to access those emails. And one of the first steps is to let Congress know that prior testimony that Comey gave, where he said, based on everything we've gathered thus far, we don't believe there was intent. We don't believe this is a case that a reasonable prosecutor would bring, which I don't agree with, but that's what he said.
Yeah.
Now that there's new information, if he doesn't update Congress, then he could be found in contempt or perjury, or it would look like he's lying.
Or he obstructed justice.
Right. So now he's trying to make sure he covers himself in the FBI. And I honestly think it's a case of damned if you do or damned if you don't.
Yeah, I think he's trying to wash his own ass, and I think many people believe that as well. Especially when you have, so these are some of the WikiLeaks that have come out since then. I know you guys have probably heard a lot about them. There's one WikiLeaks report where Cheryl Mills was, I guess, speaking to, who was she speaking to? Who was she talking to? She was talking.
There might have been Podesta.
She was speaking she was speaking to Podesta. She was telling them that we need to clean all of this up because Obama conferred with Hillary Clinton with this non-state.gov server. So that leads us to believe, of course, that the server was Hillary Clinton's server, Hillary Clinton's private server, which she set up. And if she was conferring with the president was knowledgeable that she was conferring with him on a non-government,
a non-state gov email address.
Yeah, a non-state gov email address. That would sort of lead us to believe that she did intend to use that email address for the purpose of her own privacy outside of the protocols or standards that are already stipulated for the Secretary of State or just the government officials in general. So you're not allowed to have your own private email server, right?
Really?
Right? So that's something that you're just not allowed to do. And you have to allow for people to be able to access your emails via Freedom of Information Act, and especially if you receive a subpoena. So if you're hiding information on your private email server, and you knowingly hide information on your private email server, and then when you're subpoenaed for that information goes missing or destroyed, that's
33,000 emails.
Yes, all of that is kind of illegal.
Wrong. I want to touch on something that Rush Limbaugh said to get your thoughts on this real quick. Yeah. Rush Limbaugh says that this FBI probe is a distraction from WikiLeaks. He thinks, and some of you may be wondering, why do we even care what Rush Limbaugh says? Well, I think sometimes there's a relevance there because there's other people who feel the same way, and we should talk about it. And he thinks that the FBI probe is a way to cut off and get people away from looking at WikiLeaks. I don't think that that's true, but what do you think?
I think the Clinton campaign has experienced, I have been of the belief since the first WikiLeaks drop, that was shortly after I think the second debate or so, when WikiLeaks first dropped Hillary Clinton's conversation with the banks, and she was telling everyone that she has telling them that she has a public and private face, so you don't really have to worry about what I'm saying in public because, you know I've got your back.
Wink, nudge.
Yeah, nudge, nudge. And then shortly after, I think an hour later, that's when the whole Billy Bush, Donald Trump grab him by the pussy videotape was released, right? Just shortly after that. Ever since then, WikiLeaks has been dropping on an almost daily basis.
Yes.
These leaks.
Hashtag
John Podesta's emails.
Hashtag Podesta emails if you want to follow those.
Of John Podesta's emails and other people that are affiliated with John Podesta. And each day it's been more and more damaging because you get these revelations that, of course, like she is involved, or it appears to be that she's involved in these sort of pay-to-play politics. And the American public don't like that, honestly. They prefer for their politicians, their candidates, to actually represent them, not the interests of their donors.
That just sounds like your opinion.
I kind of. And so so Hillary has been suffering in part as this progresses, And the Donald Trump video is becoming less relevant to people, even as more accusers. Of course, there has been any evidence with those accusers, but even as more accusers of sexual assault come forward. So what many people are saying is that the James Comey and people who may be working as a part of the insider group of the Clinton campaign, etc., especially the mainstream media, are throwing more emphasis on this in order to, which of course involves Umar Abedin and dick pics and all that stuff. Throwing more emphasis on this in order to distract us from further leaks that are coming, which may be even more damaging. Now, this is something that is covering the mainstream media news on all channels consistently. Now, they haven't been covering the WikiLeaks before this, right?
Well, but slowly they've been pushing it. Like, they ignored it, and then they told us that we can only watch it on CNN or it's illegal.
Right, it's illegal.
That's stupidity, Chris Cuomo. And I think they have actually started talking about what's in the WikiLeaks and asking those questions. I don't watch CNN, but I've seen some clips where they have been talking about it. But of all the places, Fox News has been reporting on this and talking about it because it does actually need to be discussed.
Fox News has recently been talking about it and exposing the WikiLeaks scandal, and I think that's in part why they're really why the rest of the mainstream media is bringing this issue to the forefront, because Fox News has been, well, oddly enough, been doing their jobs and reporting.
Now, see, the problem is you're playing into the hands of the Russians. So I don't see the Clinton campaign wanting to take and put attention on the emails, but I do agree with you that they want to take it off of WikiLeaks, and I wouldn't be surprised if more is coming. I just want to give a quick shout out to WikiLeaks. I love the way that y'all are doing the leaks, just dripping them every day. Yeah. I love it. Not one big batch at once, just dropping them every day, because those first few days it's like, oh, WikiLeaks, okay, but then it just builds steam. And then you have people like Jordan Sheridan, you have WikiLeaks themselves, you have other people, Jimmy Dore, us, talking about what's in WikiLeaks, because we're going to do the right thing by you and tell you that WikiLeaks shows the quid pro quo pay to play that is really going on in our politics. And don't think this is just the Democrats. Of course not. But we need to know who's actually doing this.